You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. The Chicago Bulls finally get a win over the Detroit Pistons. Well, they did get a win early in the season, a dominant win in this one. Billy Donovan also is staying in Chicago officially as the University of Kentucky, hires the new head coach, and he may not be the only one. DeMar DeRozan also talks about wanting to stay in Chicago this upcoming offseason. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Pat, the Bulls get a win over the Detroit Pistons, a game in which they led over 40 minutes out of this game. The Detroit Pistons only had the lead for a little bit over 3 minutes in this game. The Bulls played a good enough branded defense. Billy Donovan, one thing that stood out that I've seen a lot of people critique him for so far is leaving the starters in the game a little bit too long. We'll look at that. And also Adama Sanogo getting double-digit minutes. But overall, how did you feel about this game, Pat?
Game you should have won, a game you never should have lost. And this is how all these games have been. How long? Every game that we lost, you shouldn't have lost. They're literally the worst team in basketball. There is no reason for us to be struggling versus them. They should have 11 wins, but instead they have 13 because they beat you twice. This is, listen, I love the way that the Bulls played in this. I guess, right? Yes, it's the team you're supposed to beat, but when you talk about the overarching storyline, the way that the Bulls played in this game, dealing with some injury, dealing with being a little bit shorthanded with a very integral player, and Ayo Dosunmu not being out there, right? You wanted to see how they were going to go out there and perform against this team that has been able to beat them a couple of times, and they showed dominance the entire way through. I thought they got Vooch involved in the game really well. I thought the way that DeMar DeRozan attacked all night was a problem. And my God, Kobe White has awakened. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that you need to do as you head into this play-in game and as you head into this play-in tournament if you actually want to try and sit here and make the playoffs. It's good to see the young guys getting some run as well. I thought that, seeing Adama Sanogo be able to get in the game, Odor and all those guys kind of got in there at the very end, played like the last 2 minutes and 19 seconds of the game. Mm-hmm. But seeing Sanogo be able to get in there and get some good run in there, along with just being in there with Vooch and different things like that. Those are the kind of things that, okay, now you're getting a little bit of a taste of what the NBA is actually like. And you can kind of use these last couple of games to build yourself up, because he may be a guy that you have to utilize as we head towards the playoff, depending on what's the severity of Andre Drummond, how long he's going to be out.
Yeah, and to that credit on that, Andre Drummond apparently was using a motorized scooter to get around, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see very much of Drummond in the remaining part of the season. And I like the way that Billy Donovan, like in that first half, he basically used Adama to come in and he played 4 or 5 minutes, I think, in that first half, and it was basically Vooch's break. That's basically what he did, to say these are your breaks. This is when Sanogo's playing, and I think Sanogo played okay. He still looked a little bit out of wits out there sometime, and that's to be expected when you're playing in only your second meaningful game. So that's going to happen. But outside of that, Sanogo got things he definitely needs to work on. But I think that Billy Donovan did the best he can, because you're not going to play Nikola Vucevic for 48 minutes out there. That's for dang sure.
Please, God, please don't play Nikola Vucevic for 48 minutes. We'll basically get nothing out of him. No, I thought that it was a good game overall, and it's the kind of win that the Bulls need, because it's the kind of tape that they need to see on how to go out there. Now, does it make it a lot easier that you're dealing with a Pistons defense that, my God, what the heck are we watching out there more times than not? I mean, when you talk about having good players versus not, when Troy Brown Jr. is one of your leading minute getters, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of know what's going to go on in that game. That's a tough time for those boys up there in Detroit, but I don't care, because F Detroit.
It's Detroit.
Yeah. Bulls, Chicago over everything. I'm not worried about no Detroit. But the one thing that I will say, though, that I really thought was good to see is Alex Caruso Still trying to chip away at getting those minutes in there. That's all I want to see. I'm like, don't do too much. You out there relaxing, wasn't going crazy. Play some nice minutes defensively, but I think that knocking down a couple of shots. Don't do too much though. Take it easy out there. We're gonna get you to that 65 game minimum.
One more
that
game.
You need.
Just one more game.
One more game, dog.
One
more game. You're gonna get there.
He's
stay out of
there.
Everybody's way. You can play horribly in the last game, and you will be first team all defense.
Gotta love it, man. The Cruz is good. We're gonna make sure he gets that first team all defense. He's gonna get there, and other than that, he just needs to take it easy. Kobe White coming out of the slump. Last 2 games been playing much better as far as coming out of that slump. Yeah. Do you think that this is something that Kobe's going to maintain through this in the play-in? Or are you a little bit worried that we're going to see that decline from him again?
Listen, I'm worried about Kobe White because I think without him playing at this level, you're playing in these games for no reason. Now, you may be playing in these games for no reason anyway. These may just be, a couple of nice exhibition games for you. Maybe you end up getting into the playoffs and then you go up against Boston and, maybe magic can happen. But more than likely, you're heading towards a 4-0 sweep in that Boston series, at most a 4-1. But none of that means anything if Kobe White doesn't play like this over the next couple of games. None of that means anything if Kobe White isn't at this level during the play-in, because this is the Kobe White that got the Bulls to a pretty good record post Zach LaVine. Remember, we were talking about, I think at most we were 8 games above 500 without Zach LaVine on the court. That was this Kobe White that we saw tonight, a commanding Kobe White, knocking down the 3 ball, but still being able to attack, still being able to get downhill, still being able to find guys open. 5 assists tonight from Kobe. I just think that this is the Kobe that we've been waiting on, and he's slowly working himself back into form. Now, I want to see you taking more shots than DeMar DeRozan eventually, but get yourself back right, get your rhythm back right, and get things going. And then as we get into that play-in tournament, I think that's the time where it's time to turn over the reins.
You think Kobe's going to be ready for that? I mean, how confident are you in that?
Listen, you don't have a choice. It's not about him being ready. It's about, listen, young fella, DeMar DeRozan is not the future of the Chicago Bulls. He may want to be here, but he's not the future of this team. You want to prove yourself. When are names made? When do we find out about guys? When do we find out that guys are legitimate? That's in the playoffs. And by extension, this play-in tournament, right? There was a lot of guys that got paid last year off of that Miami Heat finals run that nobody really cares about this year, but they got paid. You know what I mean?
And everything
when's the last time
sense.
You cared about a Gabe Vincent?
Everything you said makes sense until Billy Donovan's like, bet DeMar down the stretch, it's your turn.
Well, I think that you have to expect that to come into play at some point, which and even when Kobe was going on that run, we were fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. Because Kobe was being so dominant in quarters 1 through 3, 3.5, right? That we were like, all right, yeah, well, you got to do this really good at closing out games. Why wouldn't you want to utilize him? You don't want him to just be on the back burner forever. You want to utilize him in his spots. I don't think that takes away from Kobe being who he is. I think that that's an asset, but your name can absolutely be made over these next couple of games, not really over the next couple of games, but over these play-in games. If you're able to get through a couple of those play-in games, if you find your way into the playoffs, you're going up against the best team in the NBA. People are going to be paying attention to what you're doing, and they're going to be counting you all out. But if you have that big game, right? Everybody was counting the Bulls out when Derrick Rose went into Boston, and everybody came out of that series like, hey, yo, this Rose dude might be for real, dog. Hold on now. We wasn't expecting this. Like, so it's not about being ready. It's about, are you going to create the moment for yourself?
But that's the thing. That sounds good, but that's not how it happened, though. Like, Vinny Del Negro was called in plays for like, I get what you're saying, and it sounds great as far as the storyline, but like, there's still a team concept that needs to be ran. And if we make it into the playoffs, I hope you're right. Let me be clear here. But I just see Billy Donovan it just being, let's go DeMar. Because even in this game, it took Kobe. Like what he was slowly going, but it was mainly Vooch, mainly DeMar that were getting the things ran for them. It's not that I don't see what you see. I just don't trust Billy Donovan to do it, I guess is what I'm saying. So
I mean, we'll see. That's up to Billy, right? And we'll see what he ends up doing. But he's a player guy, and I think DeMar wants to be able to have other guys help him out at this point, right? Like, DeMar doesn't want his Chicago Bulls tenure to just be they made the play-in games a couple of times. So I think, listen, if it comes down to it and Billy Donovan is just taking the ball out of Kobe's hands, I get that. But if it's just Kobe White's not taking the shots like we've kind of seen over a certain stretch of games post All-Star break, that's not what I want to see. I want to see Kobe saying, listen, with the Kobe that was before, give me the ball. This is my moment. I'll give it to you in your moment.
Yeah, but even in then, Kobe's moment was still setting up other players. It's just I want to see Kobe make the right plays. It's not just about going out there and just shooting the shoot to prove it. Like, you're a point guard. Part of your job is to making sure that wherever the ball needs to go is where it ends up. And hopefully some of those times is going to be in Kobe's hands. I mean, well, it should be in his hands regardless. He should make that final decision. Let's hope that we get to see that. I don't know if I'm hoping for the playoffs, but hey, we'll see what happens there.
I mean, listen, but next up, though, I'm just hoping for anything.
Next up, though, we're going to be talking about Billy Donovan staying in Chicago. Before we get into that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive, Google built-in, always updating assistant to call for almost anything. Garner the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system, which is nice. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. The 2024 Nissan Armada will change the way you expect from full-size SUVs. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. All right, Patrick. Random one for the week. Billy Donovan is officially staying in Chicago as the Kentucky Wildcats have decided to hire Mark Pope from BYU. They'll be working out the details of the contract over the next coming days, but he is the guy. Billy Donovan staying in Chicago. How you feel about it, brother?
All right. Get better players. Okay. Like I've said this the entire time, right? I haven't changed my stance on Billy Donovan. He's fine. He's not great. He's not going to overcome the talent that you have on your team. He's not going to overcome the being out coached by better coaches. He's not going to. He's not that kind of coach. He's going to have his moments where you sit there and we finish out the game and go, oh wow, Billy actually did something there. And then he's going to have other games where we sit there and we go, oh wow, Billy, what the heck did you do there? You know what I mean? We would love to see him develop some guys. I guess technically we are seeing that happen with Io and Kobe a little bit here. Maybe Adama comes in there as well. But I mean, like the basketball is a different sport. It's not like football where you've got to have this perfect mix and your head coach has to be able to game plan for everything that happens. You have to have good players. And the problem with the Chicago Bulls, they don't have enough good players. They have okay players. They just you have to have better players than the other team has more times than not, and we just don't.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some major flaws with this roster that we've been seeing for years consistently now. And, you know, like always, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Because you have people who blame it all on Billy Donovan. You have some people that think, oh, it's just the roster. And the truth is somewhere in the middle there, right? But you're never going to have it to where the roster and the coach are perfect. The closest thing to that was probably the Golden State Warriors. And we're far off from that. And with that said, they had the perfect roster for that coach. So it takes a while to get there. And Billy Donovan has his flaws. And we talked about this offseason. Sometimes you got to insulate certain things in there with your roster. And AK hasn't done a good job of it. Now, I don't know if this is the offseason that we're gonna see it. I would hope so. I hope to see it. But at the end of the day, I'm in a place where it all comes down to show me. Whatever you show me, that's what we're going to have to believe. That's what it's going to be. And yeah, continuity is the thing, right? It seems like I think it's important to point out in this wasn't the Bulls front office. This wasn't the Bulls ownership looking to move on from Billy Donovan. No. This was the Kentucky Wildcats. Could they make a offer that Billy Donovan just felt like he couldn't pass up on? That was what this always was. So if people are disappointed by the news that Billy Donovan was staying, I'm going to tell you, y'all were fooling yourselves if y'all thought that that Bulls are necessarily looking to move on. I'm not saying you were fooling yourself to think Kentucky could have been interested, because I do think there is some legitimate interest there.
Yeah.
But they decided to go a different way.
I think my thing is not that I'm not sitting here saying that you want to be tied to Billy Donovan, but the names that were popping up were just different. They weren't better. And I think that was the issue. And listen, if the Bulls are looking to move on, which I don't think they are, at least now, if some good came out of this, we know he's here for 2 more years.
Yeah, we finally know the contract extension. So there's that.
But I think what's interesting is, right, Billy was the odds-on favorite to go to Kentucky all until they went out there. Like, it had come out for Vegas that he was the favorite to go to Kentucky all until Kentucky ended up officially going out and signing Mark Pope. So I think is there never a future without Billy here? I don't think that that's the case. I think that there will come a time where Billy Donovan won't be a part of this Bulls team, where he won't be the head coach of this team. But what are you looking to bring in? That's been my biggest question the entire time with it. I heard Mike Budenholzer. Ugh.
Well,
I mean,
those are things that were thrown out. I don't think that if the Bulls were, I think they're going to go back to what their initial mindset was. Because keep in mind, before Billy moved on, Ime Udoka, and I forgot who the second finalist reportedly was, but they were both they would have been first-time head coaches. So I think that's kind of the route that I would expect the Bulls to go back on if they were to eventually get into a coaching search. So.
Talk about effing that up. Gee, my God, like, could have had Ime Udoka, boys. Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, like, maybe it works out differently because of and I think that's the thing too. Now, Ime has, to me, seems like he's proven that he is a better head coach as far as scheme and things like that.
Yeah, and look at how he changed that Houston Rocket with basically close to the same exact roster besides Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet down there. But other than
different. Your number one scorer turned into a different person. You basically moved everybody out who was the number one scorer there, and then you said, hey, we're gonna let this young kid down here that keeps killing everybody in the post, we're gonna let him operate with Fred. So, like, he came in and saw things right away that I think changed that organization. We've all known for 2-3 years that there's talented players down there. It's just like, y'all got to figure. Who was it? Steven Silas, I think, was the coach that was down there. 2 years ago.
People did have a lot of faith in Silas turning into a really good coach. He may still do that. It's just that first stint for him did not work out at all. So
it felt like he gave up. It felt like he was like, I've been resigned down here to die. Like, I can't do anything with these young kids. And it was like, sir, you took the job. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this was your job to take. So I think that Ime Udoka, a little bit of a better eye for talent, which could have suited the Bulls maybe a little bit better, but leans heavily on Fred VanVleet, leans heavily on Dylan Brooks, leans heavily on his veterans. My point with all of it is there's not many coaches in this league that you're going to go out there and get unless you find the next guy who you can just put out there with the team that you have right now, and it's going to look drastically different. Right? I know we want change. I know everybody wants to see something different, but different isn't always better. Different can just be different. Like,
especially if you're talking about Coach freaking Bud. That's the same. Him, Doc Rivers, and Billy Donovan are all very similar people.
Mugs forget Bud was finna get fired, and then they went on a magic.
They won the championship.
Mugs forget that so easily, bro. And it's not even like magical. It's like Kyrie Irving turned his ankle, Kevin Durant turned his ankle, and they were done. And they had no bench depth. The second round was. Who ended up getting hurt in the second round? Was that Atlanta, and Trae Young messed himself up? You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I'm not taking away the championship run. They won the ring. It is what it is. But let's not sit here and confuse Bud. Also, by the way, having arguably the best big man in the game at that time on his team. Yes, you need good players to play. That's what it comes down to. The NBA is more about players than it is about coaching. And listen, the reason I say that is because Darvin Ham still is in the winning bracket over there, and the Lakers still have chances. I mean, like, I've seen Darvin Ham take his hands out of his pockets twice this season.
That's hilarious, man. Darvin Ham is crazy.
It's bad, bro. Where the Lakers at right now? The Lakers are the 9th seed. They won 45 games. Darvin Ham is a 45-win coach. Now, they're the 9th seed because they're in the West, and the West is tough. But Darvin Ham is a 45-win coach. Why is he a 45-win coach? Is it because of his amazing coaching schemes? No, it's because he's got LeBron and Anthony Davis. Shut up.
That's hilarious.
Darvin Ham looked like he don't know which way to look at all the time. Hey, man, before we get into this final topic where we got to talk about DeMar wanting to stay here in Chicago, we do have to talk about tell you guys all about FanDuel because it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is the place to place your bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get a $150 in bonus bet guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe and secure, easy to use. What are you guys waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
All right, Patrick.
I don't like it.
So DeMar DeRozan once again reiterates his desire to stay in Chicago. One of the biggest pieces of speculation going into the offseason for the Chicago Bulls is the future of DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine potential trades is probably the next one after that, and then Patrick Williams. But DeMar DeRozan just flat out saying, this is where I want to be. How do you feel about it, Pat?
How much you want to be here for?
That's the next that's the more important question there, right?
How much you want to be here for? If you really want to be here, bet. Let's work a price out. Let's work a price out that helps you. Let's work a price out that helps you get a team that can win. Let's work a price out that helps you get a team that can compete with you. Because I tell you what, the team you got ain't it. And I know you probably love your teammates. You feel like you're in a great situation. You love everything going on with the Bulls, but it's not. This team isn't it. I keep saying this. There's a reason that we're number one. We're played 42 clutch games this season. You're one basket better. You've been one basket better for 3 seasons. It's not it. Lonzo coming back, not fixing nothing. Zach LaVine coming back, probably not. Like unless you can finagle some amazing trade. Plus, you got to have the money to do it anyway. The Bulls are in such financial hell right now that what dollar amount would you like them to give you that it's going to work for you? So I love that he wants to stay. I love that somebody wants to be a Chicago Bull. And I mean, we know why, right? He's the focal point. He's a big face of this team. He's the main face of this team. And he's getting to see young guys grow while he's here. But okay, you want to stay. How much is it going to cost to keep you here? Because clearly the Bulls are not at the number that you're at.
And that's just what it comes down to. I think that, the last we heard, they're far apart on years and money. That's telling, right? Because
we heard that at the beginning of the season. We haven't even heard anything since.
And the thing about it is that you don't want. It's an interesting place. You don't want to pay for DeMar for too long, and you don't want to pay him too much. And I just really fear that it's going to be both of those things. We're going to pay him too much money, and we're going to pay him for too long. With the way that AK like can't move on from players, so it's going to be weird to see how they balance this, how they go into these negotiations. How quick do they get them done? Is it like, because keep in mind, it seemed bleak leading up to Vooch, but then they got a deal done before free agency even opened. He never technically hit the open market. Yeah. So maybe they can work something out. I just worry that if they do, it's going to put this team in such a financial bind that all we're going to have is continuity in whoever the first round pick was.
And I think the thing is too, right? It's like you look at, okay, maybe this team, maybe there's some positives on this team that you're seeing over this run, because the Bulls are 33-28, I believe, since their terrible start. So we're above 500. We're a good way above 500. We started the season off horrible. We've dealt with injuries all year. All the excuses, and they're not excuses. They really are things that happen, but all of the things that every team goes through in the NBA. Okay, now how do you add to that and make that better? Because just waiting on Patrick Williams to become the guy, that's not the answer. Just waiting on Zach LaVine to get healthy, that's clearly not the answer. Because he was a part of the 5-14 start.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the end? Because here's the thing: is one thing to stick around, what makes you better. What helps you get better next season? Don't sit there and tell me, well, everybody's just going to keep improving. You know what I mean? Like, every game is just everybody gets better one step at a time. One for the Gipper. We're going to keep. Shut up.
Not one for the Gipper.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is the actual thing that helps the Chicago Bulls improve next season? That
lower
is not
expectations.
Lower expectations, maybe.
that's the thing that's going to help the Bulls improve.
You know what I mean, if I expect 20 wins, we're having a great season.
Hey, listen, if you came in this season expecting the Bulls to have 25 wins, listen, I envy the place that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm having a great time right now. If you thought the Bulls were gonna win 20 games, wow, they really overachieved. My God, I don't know, man. I'm tired of running. Like, it's not even a little bit different. It's literally the same.
Yeah.
And I think once you've seen 3 years of the same, what are you trying to do? And here's the thing: more than likely, the actual options that are probably going to happen, DeMar's going to be back. I don't know how, but DeMar's probably going to be back. They probably move on from Drum, put Sanago in his place. Same dude. You probably
same dude.
Yeah, same build. Yeah, I mean, same dude. I think Sanago would be the same dude in this NBA. A big off of the bench that grabs rebounds and fouls people too early in the game.
Is that all? That's all Andre Drummond is to you, brother? That's crazy.
My boy. I love Drum, but we're not over expecting from Drum, are we? Are we expecting 25 minutes a night from Drummond?
No, but I think when you say all he does is come off the bench and fat, like, it's like he does a little bit more than that. Like
a little bit, sure. Some games he does do a little bit more than that. Some games he does a little bit less than that.
That is true.
He's a bench big. Yeah, I'm just not overvaluing these dudes.
Yeah,
he's a bench big. I love it. Guess what? I got a younger bench big. I ain't say he's a better bench big. He's a younger bench big.
You just said they're the same guy.
The same dude. The role is the same. Bench big.
Not every bench big does the same thing.
Hey, my boy. What is Drummond do that we can't replace?
That's not the question either, though. You're moving the goalposts. You just said it like every bench big does. No, what Drum does. Here's the thing, though. All jokes aside, I will say that what Drum, as far as consistency brings, there's not a lot of bench bigs that do that. There are not a lot of bench bigs that can get you a double-double every night off the bench the way and the ease in which Drum does it. That is something special about Drum. But that doesn't mean you still can't replace it with a bench big that can still get you some good production. So,
hey, man, I think that when you're talking about changing things next season, there's not a lot of changes coming. That's the point. And I mean, yeah, come on, dog. Come on, dog. I'm tired of going into every season looking like this, bro. I'm sick of it. Every season I come into, I look like this.
Oh, man, that is hilarious.
You know what I mean? Come on, dog. I bet you're wondering how we got here.
That's crazy.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I guess we did get a.
You got to play the music. We got to win.
Guess we did get a win today. What am I saying in the comments? What the best rebounder today? Okay. All right. Thanks. How many wins he helping us get? Let me put this music on, man. We gotta get this mud cracked because we did get a win tonight. I can't even find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Nobody's there. You better watch your back. Drums on attack. I'm sick of doing this song because I'm running out of stuff to say like that.
Is that song retiring at the end of the season? Is that it? We're not getting it going into next season. The off season is gonna help you feel rejuvenated and bring it back next season.
I mean, listen, if we win games versus the Pistons, like I'm not giving you my best material versus the Pistons. Get a play and win. I have some bars for that. I mean, get to the playoffs. Get a playoff win.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available in every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. It's been Locked On Bulls. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Drummond is a starter on most teams. All right.